Hey everybody, Joy here. The day has finally come for you to watch video number 1 of the Fit Nice Master Top Pattern, the Joy Bernhardt Method Sew-Along. I want to make it perfectly clear that this is how I do it. I do this with everybody's patterns. Doesn't matter whose it is. Commercial patterns, indie patterns, Sure Fit Design patterns, these Fit Nice patterns. I always start my patterns doing my alterations necessary for my body. I've made so many garments and I do this with every single pattern. Okay, so I want to make it perfectly clear. This is my way. Now, Fit Nice system is owned by Judy Kessinger. You can find her website in the description box below. Lots and lots of fun things over there on her website. I bought her patterns several years ago and I have really enjoyed using them. I wanted to tell you that if you buy her patterns, either the pants or the tops, she just has two, top and pants. Here is the Master Top cover. Okay, when you buy this, inside it is a website, a link, a description, I'm not sure what you call it. But if you go there, it gives you a PDF to a whole bunch of helpful information that you can print out. Lots and lots and lots of helpful information. So you don't just get the pattern. You don't just open it up and the pattern's in it. You get lots and lots of things with it. Plus her website is just loaded with help. I told her, I said, you have the funnest company. I'd love to do what she does. Just fun. Now, Judy is not, we're kind of alike in personalities. She might say, oh, we're not. But in my opinion, we are. But she's not as picky as I am. She intended for this pattern, for both of her patterns, to take the stress out of seamstress. That's what it says on her pattern envelopes, okay? She didn't want people to have to mess with bust darts, and she doesn't think bust darts are necessary. That is the one disagreement I have with her. I think bust darts are extremely necessary, and so I always fix my patterns to allow for a bust dart or a full bust adjustment. So that's Joy's way, okay? I just want you to know what I'm doing is my opinion, my thoughts, my way, okay? You can watch Judy and do it much, much easier. She gives you lots and lots of fit tips. How to fit your arms, how if you have a belly, how if you need it wider, narrower, sleeveless. She gives you lots and lots and lots of helpful tips. The only thing I don't see is the bust dart, okay? So I wanted to let you know that. And we're going to start right now, and I'm going to show you what I do to trace her pattern and all the fixes I do for my body. So let's get started. Okay, I think you guys can see this. So here's the front pattern and here's the back pattern. They're exactly the same except for the neckline. The neck in the back is higher than the neck in the front. And when we get through making our own design, it's liable to be clear down here. We don't know that yet. But I know that my bust is 42 inches. I know that this is 1/4 of the measurement that's going to go around my body, because you're going to place this on the fold and you're going to cut a front and a back on the fold. So you'll end up with 4 times the distance from here to here. You understand? Because the front and the back are exactly the same on the side seam. So what I did was I took 42 and I divided it by 2 and I got 21. And then I took 21 and I divided that by 2 and I got 10.5. So then I measured in the bust area, and I know that my apex is down here at 11. So I know this is about the area my bust is going to end up in. So I measured to be sure that I had at least 10.5 inches, and then I decided which line was going to work the best for me. This line only goes to 10.25. This line goes to 11 inches. Now I could draw my own line, but I'm just going to take one of her lines, and I can always take it in if I need to. So up here at my bust, I'm on the 38, the size 38, okay? Now, we're at the waist. Now the waist is a mystery measurement on every person. It's different. My actual smallest part of me is here. My waist in a pair of pants is down here. Okay, so since we're making a shirt, I am going to measure kind of in between those two areas, all right? So I don't know what I got the first time. Let me see. All right, I get 34 in there. So, half of 34 is what, about 16, 17, 17. Half of 17 is 8.5. So I want to make sure down here at my waist, and I know if you want to know where your waist is, measure down from your neck to your waist. Right here to your waist. Mine's down there about 15.5 inches. So about here. So I'm going to measure across. How much did I say I needed? I already forgot. 17. Half of 17 is 8.5. I've got 11 inches there. I have 11 inches right here. And what I've done is I've come in here from where I'm narrow, and I've started to come out, because I've got to come out here to a 42 hip. Okay? Now see, this is what's strange here. Is the size 42 is way out here. Size 42 is this line right here. But if I cut this out on that size 42 line, it's going to give me 4 to 5 inches, way too much in the bust area. Plus I'm putting a full bust adjustment in this. That's going to add another inch. And so 1 inch on each side is 2 inches. So I want it to be narrow up here because I already know it will be way too wide if I use the 42 line. Now when it comes to my hip, figure out where on your body you want this t-shirt to end. And I want mine to end about, I don't know, a couple inches below my belly button. And I'm 41 there. So we'll just say that's 10.5. That's close enough. Well, 10.5 actually comes clear in here. The 10.5, my hip is the same as my bust. So I would be on that exact same line. Now I could draw this on the 38 the whole way down. But the thing is, if I do that, it's going to be close to me. And I don't want it to be close to me. I want it to not to be less close to me. So I have drawn the hip way out here because I don't like my t-shirts tight. Now, if you like them to fit close to you, then come in here and come closer. See, I would be on the 38 the whole way down and it would fit me just fine. It would fit me in the waist, it would fit me in the hip, but I don't want it to fit me that close. So I am adding some ease. So, if you can see this yellow line right here, you can see where I've started up here at 38 under the arm. This sew-along is going to be comprised of several different videos. I don't know if there'll be 2 or 3. By the time you see it, they'll probably all be up, and you can look at the playlist and see. When I sew this together, this will be part of a playlist. I'm not sure what I'll call it, but you'll be able to see it right here under this video. It's a whole hour almost of me just showing you how to cut this out that you're going to watch right now. So I can't put the whole thing in one video, okay? This is video number 1. After this, there will be at least 1 more video, maybe 2. Okay? So, let's get started. We have this part figured out. What about your shoulder? This is the first thing that I figure, and it's very, very important. If you have very narrow shoulders like I do. I have narrow shoulders, and patterns are always clear out here on me. I always have to bring them in. Now, if you have broad shoulders, hey, yay for you, you probably don't have to do anything. So what you do to figure out your shoulders is you measure from shoulder to shoulder straight across. Mine's 15, okay? Now, the number you need here is half, 1/2. because from center front and center back over to here needs to be 1/2 your measurement. Now I'm 15 in the back and I'm 15 in the front. There's probably cases where you're wider in the back than you are in the front. So you need to use your widest number, would be my assumption. Mine's the same. So 1/2 of 15 is 7.5. So I measure from center, and this is on the fold. Remember, there's no seam line out here. I measure from center over 7.5. And I have it marked right here, 7.5. Right here. 7.5, mark it on the sewing line, the seam line. Then I add 1/2 inch to that for a seam allowance, and that's where my yellow line starts right here. It's at 8 inches. This says me, 8 inches. 7.5 is my shoulder, 1/2 inch is the seam allowance. Okay? That's exactly 7.5 inches on the dot right there. So then I'm going to come out here, 1/2 inch seam allowance, add that on. There's my yellow line showing my armhole. Okay? Now, the next thing you want to know is measure the armhole. How big is your armhole here? Measure it. Measure it. Or take a blouse that you like and see how much it is. If I don't do this, the armhole ends up way down here, and my boob's liable to slip right out the armhole, I'll tell you. So, you want to measure your armhole. I know that on my knits, I like to have about a 19-inch armhole or smaller. So what you need then is this curve runner. And I'll put this in the description box. Curve runner, because it measures curves. So, what I do is I put this, and remember it's the same front and back. She draws her patterns exactly the same on the front as the back. Alright, measure, 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 measure. 9 inches. That is a 9-inch opening. So 9 inches on the front and 9 inches on the back gives me 18 inches. And this is a knit, a stretchy knit, and 18 inches will be great. So now you know your shoulder has enough room, and you know you have plenty of room over here for your body measurements. Alright? Now, I will put my paper on top of this and draw a pattern, and then I will put my fit corrections in the pattern. So let's do the fit corrections next, okay? I have traced the pattern that I just showed you in the last clip. This is my pattern that I've traced, and I've traced it on Dr. Table paper because I'm not going to be trying this one on. I will trace it again after I get my adjustments in it, and then I'll trace the whole pattern, okay? So, I am going to do Whitney's FBA number 2. Whitney has a fabulous video on how to do dartless full bust adjustments. Oh my, I thought I wrote that down for you. Whitney is at Tomcat Stitchery. So here I have drawn my top on the yellow lines that I showed you, and I have drawn my FBA lines. The FBA lines go from your apex. Where's your apex? Well, you have to measure your body and find your apex. My apex is 4 inches from center front of me and 4 inches from center front on this pattern, and it's 11 inches down from the shoulder on me. So I've measured down 11 inches and over 4, and I've made an X right there. Then I drew a line from the bottom of the pattern up to the apex, straight, straighten it up with the front. That's how you know it's straight. You have a straight center front line. Then you draw a line over to the side seam from that apex. Then you draw a line up here through the armhole. Now you guys have seen me do this a dozen times. So now what you do is you put the FBA in it. Now I know that in a knit, a 1-inch full bust adjustment works for me. And this is coming apart again. I take this together so many times. If it comes apart when you cut it, just tape it back together and cut it again. That's how you do it. You just have to keep on telling it to stay together. Alright? Rotary cutters work really good for cutting this. So now I have cut up this red line to the apex, kept on going over here to the seam allowance at the armhole, and then I've cut into the seam allowance the other way. So there's a hinge. This is a hinge right here. Right here is a hinge. Right there, hinge duty, and right here is a hinge. So we have two hinges. So we are going to pull this out on the hinges 1 inch. And I have 1 inch marks here on my cutting mat, on my Quilter's Rule Mega Mat. Okay, so I pulled that apart 1 inch, and I'm going to put green paper in it. You have seen me do this before, unless you're new and you've just stopped by to see what I do with Fit Nice, then you may not have seen me do this. Now, this is one thing that Judy does not do. She does not put bust darts in this pattern. Then why do I do it? Because I prefer the fit. I'm Peggy Sagers Jr. on bust darts. I think they are very, very important. And I do not like all that saggy fabric on the side of my body where it says you need to have a bust dart, but you didn't put one. So I don't like that on me. If you're not a picky person like I am, then hey, don't put one. Don't put one. Look at how Judy Kessinger does it. She just cuts it out and sews it together. She does have some fit adjustments, and you'll see them in the PDF that comes with the master pattern. But she does not do bust darts. So I'm going to draw 1 inch here because I've covered up my mat now. I can't see it. So I'm drawing 1 inch right there. 1 inch. Then I'm going to swing this back in. This is going to be a chopped up mess when I get through with it, you guys. But I just know it is worth the hassle. I just know it is. I've done it 1,000 times. Well, maybe 200 or 300, but I've done it a lot. Now I'm going to fill in this other line, and I'm using this bright green paper so you can see it. You can fill it in with just more of your pattern ease or your doctor table paper. I'm using a lightweight vellum paper that I got from Amazon years ago. And I don't know if I can remember what it's called to find it for you guys. But it's a nice paper. It's very nice. It's kind of, it's a little bit different than the doctor table paper, but it's still really nice. It's thin and it's real see-through and it's very workable. Okay, so there's my 1 inch green edition, and I've got this big bust dart going on out here. So I'm going to add some paper out there too. You have to keep filling all this in even though it's going to go away. This bust dart's not going to be here. Remember, this is a dartless FBA. It's like, why are you even doing that if it's dartless? I thought you didn't like it dartless. It's not dartless. It's just not going to have a sewn dart. It's still going to have a dart in it. It's just going to be moved. But what we're going to do now is we're going to cut back up this line. Right here where we just taped this down, we're going to cut back up it. And we're going to cut back out here on the bottom of that bust dart. I know this looks crazy, but this is what you do. So now you've got another hinge. You have another hinge now, and your hinge is right here. This is your hinge now, right here at the apex. We're going to swing this out. I've got to take the weights off of it. We are going to swing this out and the bust dart in. Isn't that crazy? Like, why did you put that there? I know it's confusing, but it works. Okay? Very confusing. So we've cut here, and we've cut at the bottom of the bust dart. We're going to close the bust dart. We're going to close the bust dart. That makes that all go away. Why did you put it there? I know. This is confusing. but you can do it. All right, so now the bust dart's closed. We're going to tape it shut. We're taping that shut. Why did you put it there? Because we had to. Now we've got this great big opening here. Look how big this is now. We don't want that big. We've just moved the bust dart down into here. You actually could leave it there if you wanted all that fullness, but we don't want all that fullness. We're making a t-shirt, not a great big baggy garment. All right? Now you won't believe what we do now. I couldn't believe it when I saw Whitney do this. It's very strange. Now we're going to make a hinge right here at the seam line, the end of this bust dart. We are going to cut over to that. From the apex, we're going to cut over to there, and then we are going to swing this back shut. Okay? Here we go. We're going to swing this over to here. I'm going to cut that there, cut that there, cut that extra paper off. Now we're going to take this. It's got to be loose. It's got to be up to the apex and cut from the apex over. Okay? So now that makes this swing again. I know it's crazy. That makes this swing again. And we are going to swing it until it's back where we started from. We are going to swing it shut. Now please, please, please go over to Tomcat Stitchery and watch her do this. And maybe she will make more sense. Now see, we don't need this green paper back here anymore because we've just shut that up. We've just shut it up. You see why I'm going to redraw my pattern when I get this done, right? You guys are going, we don't like you, that's way too hard. No, it's not. Now you actually could leave this open a little bit if you wanted to. Okay, we're shutting you down, putting you back. We still have this added into here for the width that we need. We're going to line it up back where it was. Back where it was. This is going to cross over. This up here is going to cross over a little bit. See? It's going to go under here. And it's going to cross over a little bit. But it still works. I don't know how it works. I just know it does. Now, line it back up on center front. We know center front is straight. And so we want the rest of this to be straight too. Okay, there's our pivot point out there, and we are pivoting. How far in do we want to pivot? Just until we're flat. There we go. Okay, so now, this is called flat pattern system. So your pattern has to end up flat. If it doesn't end up flat, throw it away and start over. Now, I'm going to tape it all shut. You can see that there's still green in here. Remember, the green is new. So it didn't all go away. This is a dartless FBA. You can see that there's still this much added right here. See the green right here? That's all new, and all of this green is new. So we have extra width, extra length, and extra fabric right here where our mound is. I'm going to cut out the arm's eye, but first I'm going to draw it better because it's kind of funky looking from these corrections. That's why we have a French curve. You all know about the French curve. Yeah. Flip it, turn it, match the curve that Judy put there. There it is. Match the curve Judy put there, and then make it work. I'll show it to you. I'm going to cut this. This is my front pattern, and that's all the corrections I'm going to need on it. And I'm going to straighten out. Now this side seam, look at this, guys. Look at this. Let me back off. Look at this right here. See how that ended up with that little hump right there? That little hump right there is actually useful to give you a little more room in your bust. I need to cut on the exact line, but you can see how there's a little hump there now. And you can see how there's extra here and there's extra here. Alrighty? So that's all I do to the front except change the neckline. So, let me trim this up. I'm going to draw it again on pattern ease. And then we'll do the back. I've taken my vellum and I've drawn my back. You can see I've drawn my back. Right there it is. There's my back. There's the same yellow line I used for the front. Different neckline. I used the back neckline, same shoulders, same yellow line on the side, same length. Now I'm going to write on it, fit nice back. 1/2 inch seam allowance. Always write that on your pattern. Always write your seam allowance because every pattern's different. Jayla uses a 1/4 inch. A lot of places use 3/8 inch. Commercial patterns use 5/8 inch. Fit nice uses 1/2 inch. Write that on your pattern. Okay, so now I'm going to cut out my back and do my fit corrections in the back. And then I want to tell you a really, really, really good tip that you will love. But let's fix this back right now. Let me roll the camera down. First we're going to cut it out. This is not patternese. This is still the vellum. All right, what fit adjustments are we going to do to the back? All right, I'll draw the lines and then I'll show them to you. We know I have to do a round back, and you probably have to do a round back too, unless you're 18 years old. Even kids have round backs now from sitting at desks all the time and sitting at computers all the time. So you draw a line across the pattern. You mark your seam allowance. Right there. See that red line? That's where I'm going to do my round back correction. Then I'm going to come down here at my waist. Actually above my waist. Remember, you slap your ruler down. And then you come down here. I'm going to come down to about 15 inches. I'm going to come down to 15 inches. My waist is at 16. Okay. This is my waist. You can see I drew a line at the waist. And I drew a line up here in the upper back. Now, you can look at your back in a mirror and you can figure out, are you round down here? Are you round way up by your neck? Or are you round by your shoulder blades? Where are you round? Maybe you're round all the way up and down. In that case, you may want to make 2 or 3 lines. All right? So I'm simply going to cut on these 2 lines over there to the seam allowance. Then I'm going to clip outside the seam allowance. All right, so let's do that. You've seen me do this a whole bunch of times too. Here's the sway back. And here's the round back. Up here at the round back, we're going to add. How much are we going to add? Well, I'm going to add a 1/2 inch. Sometimes I need 1 inch. Sometimes I need a 1/2 inch. I'm not sure about Judy's patterns. I can't remember how much I added. In fact, I think I might add a little more than that. 5/8 inch. Let's add 5/8 inch. How will I know if 5/8 inch is good? If I'm always pulling this to the front, if it keeps sliding down my back, which means my back is hogging the fabric. My back wants more material, and so it grabs it from the front. Then you have to add more material so the back will have it and it'll quit grabbing it from the front. Okay? It makes sense when you think about it. You know, because your shoulders, it's not nailed into your shoulders. The garment isn't nailed on your shoulder, so it can move back and forth either forward or backward. So there's my round back correction. Now you do the opposite. You see it's just 2 big mouths that open and shut. For the waist, I'm going to overlap it. Because if I don't overlap it for my sway back, I'm going to end up with the side seam swinging to the front of me. Now I know that I need 5/8 inch here. I've done it 500,000 million times. Well, maybe a couple hundred. Slap your ruler down. Mark 5/8 inch, but not on you. If you don't know what to mark, do 1/2 inch. Try it on. See if your side seam is straight up and down your side, or does it swing to your front. If it swings to your front, you need more. If it swings to your back, you need less. Now see, I've made this all crooked now. So it comes in at the waist and it goes out. It goes out up here at the round back and dips in at the waist, but that's okay. We are going to still line it up on the fold. We're going to play like this line is the fold. We're going to line up the bottom, center, back, and the top center back on the fold, and we're not going to worry about anything in between. Doesn't matter. This is going to come out a little. That's going in. That's going in at least 3/8 of an inch right there at my waist. We don't care. Okay? So when this is on the material, it's still going to be on the fold. This is center back, center back, center back, center back. Okay? So that's all I have to do to the back, except one more thing that I want to show you a tip for. Okay? Stay with me. I told you I would give you a really good tip after we finish the back. This one thing will help your garment fit you more than anything else I'll ever tell you. Once you've got the garment long enough and wide enough, and your shirt will go around you and cover up what you want to cover up. This is so, so, so important. I've learned this from several people, but two that come to mind are Judith Newcomb at Threads and Peggy Sagers. She does this adjustment on every single person I've ever seen her fit. I don't know why she doesn't change this on her patterns, because she always has to fix it. Maybe not on herself because she's tall, and maybe she's got broad shoulders. So this is a fun project. You need another person to do it. It's lots of fun to have your husband do it, because if it's your husband, you can be in your bra and panties. So you take some paper. Take your Dr. Table paper. If it's not wide enough, take two pieces together. Draw a straight line down close to the center of it. Straight up and down line. This paper should come up here above your head and down to your waist level. I've got mine cut to fit on a certain place I want to keep mine. So you've got a line that you draw on your paper, slap it on the wall, put it up with painter's tape. I have this pinned to a quilt. Stand against the wall. Be steady. Don't droop. Don't lean. Don't sag. But don't go like this either. Just stand normal. Relax. Stand normal. Hold your head back a little bit and your shoulders back. You know, don't paste them to the wall, or that won't be right either. Then have your helper take a full-length pencil, sharp, and have them hold it parallel to the floor and trace around your shoulders and your head. You can see on me I've got one ear. And then another helpful thing to do is have them take the pencil and find where your arm hooks onto your body and make a point there. That is very helpful to show you how deep you are from the top of your shoulder to underneath your arm. It's a good thing to know. Okay? I probably had Jerry do this 3 or 4 times, because I kept saying, that can't be right, that can't be right. Well, guess what? Every one of them came out the same. Okay? So then what you have is a drawing of your shoulder slope. Your shoulder slope from your neck to the outer edge of your shoulder. Mine are different. Yours probably are too. This shoulder is 1/2 inch lower than this shoulder. And it shows up on this drawing. Let me get you closer to the drawing. Someday I'm going to buy a professional pointer. So I'm doing all this teaching, I need a pointer. And I don't have one right now, so I'm just going to use this pencil. All right, here I am. Here's my one ear. You see this little dot right here and this little dot right here? That's me right here. That's what those dots are. And you can see how little my arms are. You know, I don't even know I'm a human being. Look like a skeleton there. But anyway, that's the only place I look like one. Okay, so what I did after Jerry drew this, I folded it in half. Like this. I folded it in half. Then I traced my opposite shoulder on the other side. So on one side, I would have both my shoulders, right? And then that way, I could tell the difference. So let's pin this back up. All right. So this shoulder is now drawn here. This is my left shoulder. It's my high shoulder. My left shoulder right here. It's my high shoulder. The shoulder on this side is my low shoulder. So I drew this shoulder over here in green. Okay, so this black shoulder, this black line is my right shoulder. This green line is my left shoulder, right there, on top of each other. And look at what you can tell. Isn't it awesome? It's just absolutely awesome. 1/2 inch different. It's about 1/8 of an inch different at the neck, but you know, you could pick a different place on your neck and be off that much. But this is so helpful when you're making your paper pattern fit you. And I'm going to show you what you do to fix your pattern. Now, you may not have to. Your shoulder slope might be just perfect for the pattern you're using. They're all different. They're all different. I have all of those independents out there now. They're different. I use Jaylee, I use Love Notions, I use Hot Patterns. This is Fit Nice System. I use Sure Fit Design. Sure Fit Design is almost dead on. And so is this Fit Nice. Both of them are dead on to my shoulder slope, which is wonderful. But if you've got if you have broad shoulders, don't even watch me anymore. It's getting late in the day. Let me tell you how you figure out if you need to fix your pattern, and then I'll tell you how to fix your pattern. I have deliberately drawn this so the slope isn't going to be right. This is my center front. There's the 1/2 inch seam allowance at the top. I'm going to line up the very top of it with my shoulder line, okay? You don't have to do this on the seam line. You can, but you'd have to add the seam allowance back in. So you're going to line this up with the neckline. You're going to make sure this is straight with center front. Now if I put this on center front exactly, it would move this shoulder over away from my neck. And you don't want it away from your neck unless, you know, you've got a little skinny spaghetti strap up here or something. You need to be working with the whole shoulder. Line it up with center front, match it up to your neck. Let me make sure I'm lining this up straight. All right, we are 3/4 away there and 3/4 away there. All right, hopefully you can see what I'm looking at here. This green line up here is the shoulder of the pattern. This black line is my shoulder. You can see that it's not really the Fit Nice pattern anymore, okay? So ignore that part. This is just a fake pattern I made up, all right? Because I wanted to be able to show you how to fix it, okay? So don't say, oh no, that's the Fit Nice. No, no, no. This has nothing to do with the Fit Nice pattern. This has to do with the Fit Nice pattern and any other pattern in the whole wide world, if it happens to apply to you, okay? So here's the green pattern line, and here's me up here. You want to measure out here at the tip of your shoulder, before your shoulder goes downhill to your arm. You want to determine what the difference in the two lines is. Okay? Out here at the tip. It's the tip that matters. You're at the neck. You're not going to do anything to the neck on the paper pattern. You're going to change it out here at the edge of your shoulder. So we are off 1/4 inch. So this pattern is 1/4 inch too low for my shoulder. All right, we're gonna play like, in this instance, I actually have broad shoulders. Oh, isn't that funny? You know where your shoulder tip is, right? Your shoulder tip is where you lift your arm and then you dent in there. There's a dent. So my dent's right here. And so I know that my dent up here is 4 3/4 out, which is out here, okay? So that's where I'm going to compare the pattern to me. All right, now I'm going to show you this cool way to fix it. It is really awesome. It is a fun thing to do, actually. Let me move my camera around, and this time I'll try not to be upside down in it. You can see this is the armhole. Armhole, shoulder, neck. We're going to line this up on a straight line on our board. We're going to line it up on a straight line. And we're going to put our weights, throw some weights down there, make that stay still. We know we have to raise this shoulder up 1/4 inch. So what we're going to do is draw a box around the armhole. We're simply going to draw an L. We're going to come right inside the armhole. We don't want to cut outside the armhole. So right inside the armhole, I'm going to draw a line from all the way to the top to below the armhole. We're going to draw an L. To you, it is probably a hangman's noose. L, L. L for lift or lower. L for lift or lower. Then, what we're going to do is, now this, if you lower it, you just do the opposite of raising it, okay? So we're going to cut this out now on this L. We are going to cut it out on the L. All right? So now we have a floating armhole. Our armhole is floatable. See here? And up here at the top, we have the tip of our shoulder. And that's what we're going to move. And we have to move it up 1/4 inch. So we're going to have some paper. Now if we were going to move it down, we would just draw a line 1/4 inch down from our L. And we would move this down. But we have to raise it up. So we're going to have some more paper. So we're going to tape that paper in there so we can draw a line on it. So we are going to come up 1/4 inch. We're going to slap our ruler down. We're going to come up 1/4 inch, the whole width of this line. Not just on the end, the whole way. We're going to move that L, the bottom of the L. Let's redraw the bottom of the L so you can see it. The bottom of the L where I cut is right there. We're going to come up 1/4 inch, and we're going to use a new color. I'm going to come up 1/4 inch with a pink marker so you can tell the difference. All right, so I just moved that up 1/4 inch. All right, I still have my floating armhole. I now have a 1/4 inch mark that I can tape this back onto. I'm going to stick this back down here, and I'm going to line it up with that 1/4 inch mark I just made. Line it up straight. The top leg of your L, the vertical line of your L, it'll tape right onto it perfectly straight, and it will line up down here. I'll show it to you up close in the camera in a minute. All right, and then we tape it the whole way up. This is a fun alteration. I just love it. And why do we do this? Why don't we just add to the shoulder? Huh? Why didn't we just add some paper up here and add it to the shoulder? Because that would have made the armhole bigger. And we don't want the armhole to be 1/4 inch bigger on the front and the back. That's a 1/2 inch total. We want the armhole to stay exactly the same. So that's why we do it like this. There's our L. There's where I went up 1/4 inch from the bottom of the L and made a new L. And up here at the top, we now have a jog. So all we're going to do, it's so super easy, is we're going to add a little piece of paper in here, and we're going to draw a straight line from the neck point out here to the shoulder point. We're just going to draw a straight line going across there. So you have to add some more paper. Add a little bit more paper. Pattern fitting adjustments are the friend of paper. Okay, slap your ruler down, come out here all the way to the edge, over there to the neck. Okay, so then we are going to get a cutter. I really need to grab a smaller cutter ruler. This thing's a monster. We're going to cut our new shoulder slope. Okay, so there we are. I don't know if y'all could even see that because I didn't have the camera turned around. There's our new shoulder slope line. And you can see how it came up a 1/4 inch out here. Isn't that awesome? It's just awesome. I just love it. I think it's the coolest tool. Now, if we were lowering it, we just would have drawn a line down here and we would have lowered it. You just do the opposite. Let's check the shoulder slope correction and see if it made a difference. All right, I'm going to line it back up at the neckline. Make sure it's straight on center front. Now remember, the center front of the pattern may not line up with your center front. Just make sure it's straight with it because you need to have this line up with your neck. Look at that. Look at that. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, yeah, but what about the other side, Joy? What about the other side? The other side, stick it over here, line it up with center front, and out by the neck, and it's absolutely perfect on this side too. You can see by the green line, which is my other shoulder, and this black line, that the slope's the same. I slope the same on both sides. It's just that I'm higher up on one side than the other. And I imagine that these two dots, one's higher up than the other. I don't know, I wonder about that. I never thought about checking that out. Let's check that out. Let's slap this ruler up here and see how far I am away. That's 4.5. And this is 5. 5. Yeah. So, these are even on my body. These are even. Same distance. But this shoulder rises up a 1/2 inch higher from this point under here. I just figured that out with my lightning fast mind. All right. That's your shoulder tip. Enjoy it. All right, now you all have your 3-way mirrors from the last sew along. If not, Google over-door 3-way mirror. And there's one that hangs over your door like I got at my other house. Probably a couple $100. I can't find these anymore. I don't know where I got them. These are 21 years old, you guys. This used to be my sewing room out here. All right, I have redrawn this and cut it out on the pattern ease. Now I want you all to go get a paper and a pencil, a pen and a paper, a pad and a pen. I'll wait. Okay, are you ready? Write this down. Pattern ease does not stretch. This is pattern ease. It doesn't stretch. You are going to make your garment out of a knit. A knit does stretch. So when you try this on, don't expect to have the fit like it's going to be when you make the knit version, okay? This is paper. Okay? Be sure to remember that. This is paper. When you make it out of knit, knit has a lot of negative ease and it's going to fit much, much better. So, this is going to fit tight. Okay, so we're going to put it on. I've already put it on one time, and the first thing I discovered was the neck did not reach my neck in the back, and I had a fold over here. So I had to cut some more round back in it. I've added another 1/2 inch round back, so there's like 1 1/8 round back in this now, okay? I'm putting it over here on my high shoulder. Now you'll be in your underwear. Y'all don't want to see me in my underwear. It's not a pretty sight, let me tell you. I actually made this, Philly and I did, we made camisoles to take a class in Tulsa one time from some Palmer and Plesh instructors. And we made camisoles to wear in that class because all the women were going to be running around in their underwear. Okay, so we're going to look in the mirror. I've pinned this at my center front, in the front, and I've got the shoulder on my shoulder, okay? Now I've got to somehow make it stay in the back. That's a little more difficult. I need Philly, and Philly isn't here. Let me see, how can I do that? I just look in the mirror, you all can see. See how it wraps around my back? And it doesn't gap at the armhole? I can't see it. Yeah, see, it looks real good at the armhole. Before there was a big gap there. Now in the front, I just moved it a little bit. Let's tape the back to my head. Let's tape the back. Can you see me? Can you see me now? Do you see how center back goes down my center back? Do you see how the side seam is straight and goes down the side of me? I hope. Let me look in the mirror and see. Yes, it's very straight. If I had not put the sway back in it, the side seam would be going forward like this. It would go forward to me. So as you pull that up, it pulls the side seam back. All right? So the back looks good. I can't see when I've got that shut. The back looks good. It meets me all the way up and down. The front, don't pin your belly button down. Okay, that looks real good. See, straight up, center front. There's a little room in the hip, which is what I wanted. The length is where I wanted it. I'm not having the neck up here. You know, I don't like my neck up there. But before I change the neckline and the style of the garment, I want to make sure I have a good fit. Okay? So that's what this is all about. Yeah. Yeah, the shoulder seems to be okay. This will have a sleeve in it. I want to do a sleeveless one, but when you do a sleeveless one, you have to take the side seam in. Otherwise, you will have a very gapy armhole. And Judy Kessinger has a whole lot of tips on her site. She has tons of tips in her books. Her books are wonderful. She also has this other thing. It's a flash drive that has previous years of club on it, but it's quite expensive. So I don't know, you'll have to decide for yourselves, you know, if you want to invest in that. But there's tons and tons of stuff in her books and on her website already. Let's draw the sleeve. This is the next day, and I already drew my sleeve, but I'm just going to give you a little demonstration of how I did it. Somebody asked me what to write on this vellum with. Markers work the best on it. I would suggest that you get friction markers, not pens, markers. Friction markers come in lots of colors. This is friction markers. Let me see exactly what it says. It says Pilot Friction Erasable. Now it's heat erasable. You erase it with an iron. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You just take your paper over there and iron it and your mark would go away. So I highly recommend these. So let's use black so you can see what I'm doing. All right, you have to have a ruler. Now, this sleeve can be short, 3/4, full length, cap. You can draw a cap sleeve, you can draw a short sleeve. Now, I like my sleeves short. I either like 3/4 or short, but for summer, I like mine short. So I have a joy line already drawn on Fit Nice's master. See, my line's right here. It's in blue. And it says, Lauren's line is here. My line is here. Okay? So, I want you to be very, what does the little Russian lady say? Be very attentive. Be very attentive. She is so adorable. Stelina. If you don't know her, go to YouTube. How do you find her? Oh my gosh, look up custom sewing or something. Stelina. She is adorable. She can't speak a word of English, so she has an interpreter, see? She has an interpreter. It would be nice if your pens weren't dried out. I need to get some more. Okay, so I draw mine down 6 inches. From the shoulder line to where I want my sleeve, I go down 6 inches. Now, Judy does not put a hem allowance. She just tells you to turn it up and hem it. I like to have my hem shaped properly so it folds up nicely. So I draw my hem on 1/2 inch. You can make it 1 inch. I have to make mine little because mine is so short there's not much room here. Okay, so I'm going to draw my allowance right there, 1/2 inch. And I'm going to write 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to use this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I tried to find a link for these 1/2 inch rulers, but evidently they are completely sold out from last time I told you about them because you cannot find them. Now, Judy's drawing here is wiggly, and I don't like wiggly. So I put my French curve on there. I've done enough Sure Fit Designs patterns that I know that this curve right here is on your French curve, okay? So I'm going to draw this with my French curve to smooth it out because I don't like that wiggly line. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm going to show you with this pink pen where her line is. Her line goes here, wiggles down, and goes around. See? Hopefully the camera can pick that up. See? Now I don't want that wiggly line. Probably work perfectly, perfectly fine. Hundreds of garments have been made with that wiggly line. I don't like it. I'm a perfectionist. Tell yourself, Joy is a perfectionist. We don't have to be like her. We can just make this the simple, easy way. We don't have to be like Joy. This is very true. You don't have to be at all like me. Remember, you have asked me to show you how I do these patterns, okay? You've asked me to show you how I do them, okay? So everything I show you is how I do it. You have to match your sleeve to whatever line you drew your front and back with. Alrighty? And then you just draw down to there. And you need a smaller ruler, but this is what I have here right now. I've already drawn my sleeve. I'm just doing this for you guys. All right, and there's my 1/2 inch allowance. Now, here's the next thing I do. Oh, I mark the seam allowance. Earth to Joy. Mark the seam allowance. I do that just so I know it's there and I didn't, you know, I don't look at it and think, oh, did I put the seam allowance on that? And the seam allowance is already included in Judy's patterns. One of you asked me if you can do this out of a woven. Yes, 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 you can. You can do it out of a woven, but it's different. And Judy has lots of tutorials on how you change this to a woven version. I imagine they probably come with the master pattern. The master pattern comes with a link that you can use to go to watch, to print out, I believe it's print out. You can print out pages and pages and pages. I have a whole book full of them. Alrighty, there's my sleeve. The lights are shining pretty bright here, but I think you can see my sleeve. Now I'm going to tell you something super, 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 super important to do on this sleeve. Be sure you do this. Put here at the center of this sleeve, fold. Fold. That goes on the fold. Also, right on your sleeve, cut 2 on fold. You have to have a left sleeve and a right sleeve. Cut to on fold. Then remember to write on it that it's your fit nice sleeve and the date. All right? I always find myself a straight line because I'm just an odd duck. Do I know I'm an odd duck? Oh yes, I certainly do. Fit nice. I had secretaries, a lot of secretaries in my life. Fit nice sleeve. 5/5/2020, because I started making this yesterday. I had a secretary tell me once, "You need psychiatric help. You expect everything to be right." Y'all remember my typing and shorthand teacher. She said if it isn't right, it's wrong. You get an A or an F, so it's not my fault. It's not my fault. But a lot of these people, I think the art of proofreading has actually died forever. Nobody proofreads anymore. I'm sure you all do. But boy, you get a letter from a doctor, a lawyer, an Indian chief, insurance company, me and my history of being an executive secretary. Oh my gosh. The missing words, the misspelled words. Oh, it's just scary. Okay. Why are you telling us that? We want to sew. We don't want to listen to all that. All right, I'm shutting up. Okay. I'm cutting out my sleeve. Mine is short. You probably won't want yours this short. You might not want a sleeve at all, but if you want it to be sleeveless, you need to look at the instructions on how you change your pattern to be sleeveless. Basically, what you do if you want it sleeveless is you trim this right here. You trim this off right here, and it makes your sleeve closer into your body without these wings out here. Basically, but Judy has a video on that. All right, so I've got my sleeve, I've got my front, I've got my back. Let's go find some fabric and cut out a top. What do you think? You'll have to go to the next video on this playlist to watch me do that. So bye for now.